MyFitnessPal mistakes. It is so important to make sure that you are logging accurately when you are recording your food in MyFitnessPal. So we've decided to make this video to address the common things that people do where they might just have a slight variation in their diary that could affect the whole grand scheme of things. So here are the top 7 things that we see on MyFitnessPal that can skew your ultimate goal. So number 1, this is a big one, and it's not actually logging everything, okay? So there's a few different components to this one. The first thing we commonly see is that people leave everything to the end of the day. So they go through their entire day and then they get to the evening and that's when they record everything. Common sense, you're gonna forget something, right? You can say you have the best memory in the world, but it's not gonna cut it, all right? There's no way. Make sure you're logging as you're going, and even better, try and log everything the day before. So another thing that falls under this umbrella is not including things like oils, sauces, dressings, milk in your coffee, something like that. So as you can see, these things can add up really quickly. So using a bit of oil in the pan to cook your food, the milk in your coffee in the morning, the milk in your tea at night, a packet of sugar, even your low-fat dressing that you think might be calorie-free, or that little bit of ketchup that you might have as a side with your dinner. So all of these things can add up, and it is really important to include them, especially if you are trying to lose those last few kilos, because those are the things that will add up really quickly. And then finally, bites, picks, licks, tastes, any of that. So if your kid is eating and then you just take a little bite of whatever's left over, even just picking and munching while you're cutting up some vegetables can even add up to about 100 calories. So you really have to be careful with those things. What I recommend is just don't do it. Make a rule for yourself. No eating in the kitchen, no snacking, no munching. The only time you can eat is when you're having a meal. So number 2, ignoring the exercise portion on the top of your MyFitnessPal app. So MyFitnessPal has a function that attaches to your Apple Watch or Fitbit or whatever it may be and calculates how many calories you burn through exercise. And what it does is it will increase the amount of calories that you have remaining. So you can see where the calorie remaining number is. Ignore that. Focus on your target that's given to you by either your coach or whoever's given you a target to reach, and hit that. Just because you exercise doesn't mean you can eat back those calories. And that's just a mindset thing from beginning to end. Don't ever eat back the calories you burn during exercise. It's just a terrible mindset to be in. You don't want to do it. So tip number 3, using the recipes in MyFitnessPal rather than creating your own. So what this means, if you have a stir fry at home, if you're gonna do this for dinner, you can't just put stir fry in the search engine of MyFitnessPal and pick one, because it's not accurate, of course, and also you're probably gonna pick the lowest calorie option. You don't wanna do that. But MyFitnessPal does have an option where you can create your own recipes. That's the better way to do it. So measure out your carrots, your broccoli, your chicken, your sauce, all of that, include the oil. Put it into a recipe, and then you can divide it into however many servings you're having. That's gonna be the best way to do it if you are having those sort of one-pot meals. So this actually transitions into point number 4, which is picking the lowest calorie option. So let's take an avocado, for example. If you just type in avocado, a lot of different options come up. The way to tackle this is to measure. We do encourage you to actually weigh out how much avocado you're going to be consuming. The same goes for if you maybe wanted to have a little treat and you have a piece of pizza. If you type in pepperoni pizza, there's a lot of different options, okay? So the thing that we would probably most likely gravitate to is the lowest calorie option. I actually advocate doing the opposite. Go for the highest calorie option and then some, because when you're eating out, the caloric value of takeout food is astronomical. Overpredict in every single circumstance, and that will save you a lot of grief when you're trying to reach your goal. So point number 5, watch out for user entries. Now, what this means, if you were to take the same pepperoni pizza, any person that uses MyFitnessPal can enter their own nutritional and caloric information into the database. So in the case of an apple, for example, one way of doing it, it's a good little trick, is to type in USDA. So that's the United States Department of Agriculture, and if you go to their website, they actually have the caloric information of basically everything. So if you use this as a prefix to apple, for example, that's going to give you what the USDA has written in their outline for how many calories and how many macronutrients are in an apple. So that's a good way of making sure that your entries are accurate and not taking something that someone else has entered into the database. Point number 6, guesstimating. So you really want to be careful with this. So it is very easy to just say, oh, well, I think this is how much this is. Be careful with that. I'm going to use a tablespoon of peanut butter as an example. All right, so here it is, peanut butter, 1 tablespoon. I'm going to measure it out and see how many grams it is. So according to the label, 1 tablespoon is 20 grams. Kind of as predicted, it actually is 29 grams of peanut butter. 29 grams, and it's supposed to be 20. Does 9 grams make a difference? Absolutely it does, and this is how. Big difference in calories. So these are the things that you really, really have to be aware of. So as you can see, it is really important to weigh things rather than using a measurement like a tablespoon or a cup. It is far more accurate, and once again, yes, it does go down to these minor details, because we get it all the time where people say, I'm eating so-and-so calories and not losing weight. Well, sometimes it's the simple things like this that do add up over time. So we always say, just get a scale, weigh it out, and then over time, once you are tracking your food, naturally you start eyeballing things more accurately, and that tablespoon of peanut butter that was once, 30-something grams is now the actual correct amount. So point number 7, last but definitely not least, be careful of your serving sizes. So I'll use this one as an example here. This packet has the nutritional information on the back for 1 serving. This is a cookie. Now, if you look at the very, very fine details, there's actually 2 servings in this packet, even though it is 1 giant cookie. So these are the things you really, really have to look out for. So if you're going to be entering this into MyFitnessPal and you scan it, 1 serving, pop, in it goes, you're not even going to be aware of the fact that there's actually 2 servings in that packet. And you're going to eat the whole thing, and then you're going to wonder why down the road nothing's changing. So be really, really conscious of labels and serving sizes, because all of the products out there, they're going to try to make it look appetizing and try to make it look like the value of it isn't as much as it actually is. So just watch out for that one. All right, guys, there you have it. These are the most common mistakes that we see on MyFitnessPal. So in order to make sure you are nice and accurate, try and implement these 7 things and just be conscious of everything that you're doing, because every little bit counts, especially if you are on a weight loss journey. Hope this video helped, and we will see you next time.